All right, everybody, welcome back to Off the Grid on the Record, the show where we dig into the real stories behind big ideas in tech, energy, and whatever else catches my eye, to be honest. So today's guest is Jace, and he's building a crypto shark tank called Whale Tank. And he's also got this insane AI agent that can basically run a full cyber red team on its own. So, I mean, we're talking about where AI is going, how he's using it, and some of the curveballs that come with building stuff at the edge of what's possible. So let's get into it. Jace, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. Of
No, thanks for having me.
course. And where are you calling from today if the accent hasn't given it away for anybody?
Adelaide, South Australia.
Amazing. And for anyone listening who hasn't met you yet or hasn't heard of you yet, give me the quick backstory. How did you end up building things like Whale Tank and this AI security agent?
Yeah, so I actually started out in steel and started a structural steel company when I was 23, then sort of pivoted because I always had that fascination for tech. So I did a bit of study and really dug into it, and then things evolved from just smart contracts all the way to now autonomous AI agents.
Wow. I feel like that's quite the journey. So where did that kind of, that initial spark, obviously you had an interest in it, but what snowball started that snowball effect of just getting deeper and deeper into it?
Well, initially I won some like freelancing work for it through one of those online platforms, and then from there I met certain people, and it just sort of snowballed and kept evolving from there, and just
Amazing.
interest sort of adjusted at time up.
That's amazing. And I mean, like you've kind of said, you've done a mix of client work and, your own in-house projects, but what made you say, let's just, focus on the big stuff now? I mean, the stuff that you're building now is pretty insane.
Yeah, well, I've always liked to build stuff that's pretty disruptive, or someone says it can't be done. But yeah, we like sort of chasing the bigger projects, and AI's where the industry's sort of heading now.
Mhm.
Every new product on platforms like Product Hunt and that come out are AI.
Exactly. Everything now is kind of revolving in it. I think it's the biggest
Yeah.
word that we've seen in the last year, but it makes sense. I mean, it gets tricky, right? So, I mean, for you, what's the trickiest part about getting these kinds of projects off the ground?
Tech's really the easy part. It's just having the right team and the right marketing, which is the best thing, and keeping everyone aligned, because it's the
Hmm.
resources and timing for a launch are pretty much a make or break factor with it.
Exactly. I think, have you been looking at investors anytime, I guess, like recently? Because I know that those like first 4 weeks of like a launch, which I'm assuming is coming up soon, is, something that you guys are looking forward to.
Yeah, definitely. Not so much investors per se. We've more so been looking for KOLs to market the platform, because initial capital wise isn't really needed for that because it's raised on the first project.
Fair enough. That's a good spot to be in. Now I'm kind of excited to talk about what it is, right? So, I mean, Whale Tank. Give me the plain English version. How does it work?
So basically, if someone wants to launch a crypto project, them and their team apply through the platform, and then we vet and approve the project, and then KOLs that are already onboarded on our program essentially pick and choose what projects they want to support. And then come launch day, they get a live AMA call on the homepage with these KOLs to build the hype. And then after pretty much trading starts, the platform handles your tokenomics and all of that.
That's huge. And then for anyone who doesn't know, explain what a KOL is.
Like a industry expert, pretty much.
Fair enough. So, like, would it be similar to an
Influencer.
influencer?
Yeah.
Fair enough. That's amazing. And I mean, you guys have got some pretty big names in the mix. So, how these like partnerships, you guys come together?
Pretty much we had people reaching out to certain KOLs, and we said, offered an equity deal with them. And then, yeah, they agreed to onboard whoever they knew so it could just go along the chain.
Fair enough. And then how long has this been out for, or, how long away is it from, coming out?
We're probably within a month we'll be launching, but we've been working on this for months and months.
Fair enough. So I guess it's coming to that time where everything's got to make or break, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be the launch, which is the big factor.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of leads into what I was wondering too, is like you're juggling all the moving parts. You've got the development, the partnerships, launch plans. Where does it get the most chaotic out of all of those?
At the moment, probably the development of it, because it's production ready, but there's so many moving parts in the actual build, which makes it tricky that because there's live AMAs, there's bonding curves for crypto, and everything's got to work together. But the bonding
Hmm.
curve is reliant on the AMA ending, and it's just so codependent on each other. Everything has to be perfect.
Exactly. While we're on the topic of crypto, where did the fascination with that start? Because obviously you were saying that you're into tech, you're into, building out software, and we'll talk about the AI red team agent. But in terms of, this whale tank that you've got going on, where was that kind of idea originated from? Because, crypto is fairly new as well. So, I mean, where did
Yeah.
your fascination with that come?
Well, my fascination was always sort of there for crypto since probably 2016, 2017, just
Hmm.
buying and selling whatever I could, trying to make a quick dollar when I was younger. But the main sort of thing now is the issue with getting rug pulled on platforms like Pump Fund and that everyone's sick of it. So
Hmm.
if we tried to find a way to solve that problem for everyone.
Fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. It's a cool approach. But okay, let's talk about this red team agent. What should I call it?
So we're
What's the way
calling it
to
OK.
approach it? OKX. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So let's talk about
And
OKX.
it's
What does it
got,
actually do from the moment that
yeah.
I want to say you pointed at its target?
Well, essentially, it can be used for anything you want. So you can have a conversation like a chatbot, or you can just basically put it into its mode, which is called Omega, and it thinks it's basically a black ops cybersecurity agent for the CIA almost. So
Wow.
it completely changes, and you just give it a target, the rules of engagement, and then pretty much an objective, and it will stop at nothing to achieve that objective for you.
Wow. And then, so what are the applications of it, right? Like, what are the main use cases for something like this?
Bug bounty. It's a good way to make money doing bug bounty through that because you can automate all of that, even your report writing, then make your submission sort of thing. And some of them pay up to $2 million if you find a critical vulnerability.
Wow. And is that what you think it's going to be used for? Or is there something like, what's the more traditional, I think, use
Well, we use it
case?
for a lot of red team stuff to do recon, and then we determine if we're going to use it to go further on once we've done all that recon because it can do it end to end. Like within 5 minutes the other day, it got a whole database off a exchange.
Wow. That's massive. And then I
Yeah.
guess legally, what are the implications of that? I mean, I'm sure there's definitely some kind of red
Red
tape.
team is legal.
Okay.
That's when you're engaged by the company to actually perform cybersecurity and try and breach their security.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So
And are
you can
there
use it for your own
safeguards?
network. Yeah. So
I
it
see.
follows the rules of engagement, pretty much whatever the rules you're defining for that, what it follows.
Fair enough. And do you put those rules in, or do those come kind of
Yeah.
predisposed?
Each time is, yeah, sort of activate it for a target. You've got to define the rules of engagement for it.
Fair enough. Is there, I'm always like thinking kind of, call me old school with like some of this stuff, but I'm always thinking like, how can someone exploit something like this? Are there safeguards set in place where, someone on the wrong, someone gets like the wrong person gets it in their hands and they start, trying to,
Mm.
hack into government databases or whatever? Or is there some kind of way to, prevent and mitigate that?
Well, the agent wants to read pretty much a signed off copy of the engagement letter from the company that you're red teaming, but
Hmm.
it's probably
It
best
needs
not
that.
place. Yeah, it needs that in order to actually chase the target.
Hmm. Fair enough. Well, I think it's pretty safe then. And the next thing that was really interesting that we kind of touched on last time we spoke was you said it can help or it can spin up its own sub agents. So give
Yeah,
me an example of that in action because that's really cool. I haven't heard of anything like that.
so if you want basically to have a workflow for, say, developing smart contracts, it can spin up its own sub agents. It will even add tools to those agents. So one agent does the researching, one agent defines the architecture, then there's developer agents, and it just completely builds itself out for what it needs and what it thinks it requires because it acts autonomously in its own desktop environment on Linux.
That's massive. And what was the process of making something like that? I mean, I've even seen people struggle to make their own agents themselves. How have you gotten an AI to basically make its own agent?
Well, basically, it's all about what you define in the parameters of it, and choosing the right models for it is massive because like models like Claude, they're good, but they're not too obeying to what is defined in Anthropic's sort of business strategy, I guess.
Fair enough. And then you told me that when you tested it on the crypto exchange and then it pulled the whole database in, 5 minutes, what was going through your head when you saw something like that happen?
Honestly, I didn't think it'd be able to do it that quickly, but yeah, it was pretty shocking to be honest, because it's very powerful if it gets into the hands of the wrong people. So it's something that sort of needs to stay probably commercially based.
Fair enough. I mean, I think we kind of touched on this part too, but if you wanted to open this up for other people to use, which eventually is obviously the idea, what would be the hardest part of making that happen?
Probably legal compliance and government compliance, because I feel like they don't want a unhinged cyber expert pretty much trying to hack into everything they can. But yeah, if it would be the hardest part would be just keeping it legal for people.
Fair enough. And has that been in conversation with any legal teams, or has it not gotten that far in the process just yet?
No, we have spoken to a couple of lawyers about it. At the moment, it's mainly just been refining the development so it's actually achieving what we want it to achieve internally.
Fair enough. And then is there some kind of timeline that you're expecting between, now and when you think it might be able to, be sold to the market?
Within probably 2 to 3 months,
Wow. So
it's
fairly soon.
production ready already, to be honest. But it's just having it defined perfectly so there's no repercussions to anything, which is the main thing.
Fair. And do you feel like you could scale it right now if demand suddenly blew up, or would you have to like rework some things first?
It could be scaled, yes, but we'd need to definitely define the like parameters of it a fair bit more.
That makes
Just
sense.
to,
Give it
yeah,
better guidelines.
yeah, so it's not manipulated and keep everything very closed source.
Exactly. You always have to create a security agent for the agent.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's funny. But anyways, I love the idea of it, and I think it's the applications of it are going to be fantastic. So I kind of want to shift a little bit more to what we were talking about a couple of days ago, where you've said before that sometimes the ugliest software wins. Why do you think that happens?
Because a lot of people these days, I think they care about if it's solving their problems rather than if it's pretty.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do you have any cases where you've seen something like that? Anything you can kind of point
Uh,
us in the direction of?
some software I've seen companies or SaaS companies build is I've looked at it and I thought you've actually handed that over. And
Hmm.
then some things that we've built as well that are perfect, pixel perfect with things, and it hasn't got much engagement from anyone, but it's got a lot of views, but not much actually interactions.
I see.
So I think
Fair enough.
it definitely comes down to what market you're aiming towards. I think because I think the tech guys more so care about beautiful UI, whereas a tradie's not going to care about that so much. He just wants it simple to use.
Exactly. And what do you find more common and more, I guess, what people should strive for and why?
Probably keeping it simple but respectable at the same time because you don't want it to be clunky with like writing overhanging the bubbles and stuff like that, but
Hmm.
respectable enough just so it's what meets customers' expectations.
Fair enough. And I think that kind of relates to what we were talking about in terms of focus, right? Because when you're deciding what to focus on, adding new features or just polishing what you've got, right? How do you
Yeah,
make that call?
it really depends if it's for a client or if it's customers. So if it's sort of a SaaS product that we want to offer, then we got to do pilot runs with everything to test it first. But if it's for a client, we pretty much follow that what they want to a T.
Hmm. That makes sense. And I mean, so is the custom build out a little bit more something that, your team and yourself lean to, or is it more of a SaaS product bot build out that, you prefer?
Probably custom build outs, but then on the side we just do our own builds as well. when we string together some decent ideas that seem like they would have some sort of engagement there.
And then as of now, what's the team looking like then? Like who's a part of it and what's everyone's role? Because I think it's especially in tech and software, it's such a new business model. People don't know how things are structured, right? People kind of assume there's either one guy or 50 people that are
Yeah.
just working on this one thing. So how are you structured and why do you feel like that's the best way to be right now?
Yep. So we have an office in Adelaide and Sacramento, California, and we got a virtual team as well. And I've also got a co-founder alongside me. But yeah, we just basically it's me and the co-founder and eight or so developers there.
That's great. And then how do you develop a delegation system to be able to run the company efficiently without creating any security risks or making sure that everyone still has their own roles?
Well, pretty much just keeping everything intact and assigning scope is the main thing so that everyone has the correct role and they know what they're doing, and utilizing resources like GitHub and the repositories so that everyone knows what code's being pushed where and it's being signed off by us at the end before goes to production.
And do you feel like the people that you've brought on were already technically sound and already spoke the same language as you, or what did you have, interns coming on and you have to
Nah,
train them as they
definitely
go?
more technically sound than me, probably even some of them. But
That's
yeah,
the way to do it.
yeah. For what we were doing, we needed the best that we could find.
That's amazing. That's great. And the other thing I kind of wanted to come back to is the crypto conversation because marketing in crypto is brutal. I mean, I've done it, and it's its own game. It's its own thing
Yeah,
completely. I mean, if you could take one big frustration out of that process, what would that be?
probably the fact of having to use Telegram groups and Discord for everything because that's what the community mainly cares about. But
Fair
yeah,
enough. It's an omni-channel approach, right? Like you really have
yeah,
to kind of attack from all angles, and especially with Discord too, they have such strong regulations on what's
yeah,
allowed to be put in and taken out. So it gets even harder that way. But I think that's probably a good answer.
yeah.
But back to Whale Tank then. I mean, that launches soon. The AI agents evolving. What's the next big milestone you have your eye on after these two launch?
Probably we've got a lot of client work in the pipeline as well, so and maintenance work we need to do. So nothing too exciting for the minute. But yeah, I'm sure something will come out eventually as well further down the track. But for now, we're just going to work on refining everything we're doing.
Fair enough. And I mean, out of these custom build outs, if there's anything you can say about them, I'm not sure how strict and secure are they, but what does that job entice and what kind of softwares are you building out for these companies?
So AI agents for a roofing company, basically to it's SaaS roofing company, so that automate their software there to make the workflows a lot easier for their clients,
Hmm.
and like plugins for that, and also just a lot of web development because we do great GSAP web development as well.
Fair enough. Which ones would you say is more common? Is it usually like give me the scope of it for those listening too? Because when you say chatbot, is it the little guy on the corner of the screen, or is it a little bit more elaborate than that?
Well, it is the little guy on the corner of the screen, but it's also if you tell it to update the companies in their register, it updates that and it creates work orders. So it automates the work process for the actual people on ground. So they can take a photo of, say, some roof sheets and say, order 10 of these, and that can automatically raise a purchase order for them.
That's huge. That's very interesting. And then how has that kind of evolved since the start? I mean, I think you've probably seen it from 2015, 2016, like you're saying, till now. You can make AI put in orders for you. I mean, even myself, I think I build out like 30-step NA-done workflows. So, I mean, how does that kind of like, present itself to you, and how do you react to industry and software and technology that's just growing that fast?
Well, the thing is, agents are very simple to build. Like it's not much code. That's the thing. So it seems like it was gate kept for a long while there. But yeah, the way it's evolving now, it's probably going to be, I feel like, if it's going to feel like it's conscious in a year or so.
Fair enough. I mean, you can already talk to it.
Yeah,
And it's pretty cool how some of these things work. You can have like receiving, like call receiving, and the AI does does like the little chuckles. Like it's crazy how realistic
yeah,
they've been able to make it. So I'm
yeah.
sure if
It's
that's,
definitely helping a lot
included,
of people out.
it's a lifesaver even for me.
Even cold calls and stuff like that. I know it can do them for businesses as well, and that's a massive thing. Because
Exactly.
who
Like
likes to cold call?
exactly. Fair enough. I mean, it's its own entire thing, right? Like I think in my history when I had the marketing agency, I think I had at least 80% of my outreach I was using some form of AI for, whether it was cold emails, whether it was on LinkedIn, whether it was I never tried the cold calls, but I did the SM and even like on Facebook and all the ads, right? Like all that's automated and all that's run by a bot.
Yeah,
I actually saw this one company, this is pretty cool. They're developing a bot for Facebook ads. So it reads your entire it's the oh, I don't know what it's called. It's the Chat GPT like agent, right? Like
yeah, rapper. Yeah,
anyways,
yeah,
where do you
definitely.
see the coolest, I guess, or most interesting? I don't know. Let's get more formal. The most interesting crossover between AI, security, and crypto happening in the next couple of years.
Honestly, I think AI is going to be running a lot of the security for companies, monitoring 24/7, because it's basically your own cyber security guard to
Hmm.
be utilized for. So the attacks are going to get a lot more sophisticated because I know there is malware out there that self-evolves as and uses AI to do so as well. So everything, the security is going to need to get a lot more sophisticated too to protect from these attacks.
Fair enough. It's going to be agents against agents, like
Pretty much.
at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Um, yeah, that's an interesting. It's going to be an interesting time, right? Like, how do you, as a human who can't even think half as fast as any of these bots, compare with something like that? So I guess it's just
Yeah.
building out the best one as possible.
Yeah, it's pretty much probably getting AI to even build the best one as possible at that point.
Fair enough. Like getting it to learn from, the past and somehow
Yeah.
be able to get in to see what's happened before. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and, it, and if someone was listening and wanted to start building in this space tomorrow, what's the one mindset that they need to have from day one?
Probably don't worry about the noise and just build what you want to build. Do what you want to do because if you're that passionate about it, you can make it work.
Fair enough. And then in terms of people that are fairly new to this, who haven't heard anything at all about it, what's the best place to start? Because some people don't even know what's possible out there. You might think you want to build
Yeah.
chatbots, then you figure out there's, 15 other things that, are possible. So what helped you decide and what would you recommend to anybody else?
Well, as the market evolved, that sort of made my decision pretty
Hmm.
shift a fair bit. But probably your first steps would be learning basic coding
Hmm.
because most agents are built in Python, which is pretty simple coding language, say compared to TypeScript. So it's an easier start than say if you're going to go writing GSAP developments on websites.
Fair enough. And would you say coding is going to be easier with AI? Like, can you use a ChatGPT prompt in order to build a code for something that you're going to use in Python?
There is platforms out there like Cursor and that do have agents build for you, but the problem with agents is they can't fix the errors that well or anything like that. So you need that human knowledge there to actually back it up, sort of thing.
Fair enough. So that's still the most important piece of
Yeah,
information, the most important touch. That
yeah,
makes
you can't
sense.
trust complete AI code. That's the thing.
It is
It's
true.
good
I
for
mean,
reviews, but
fair enough. No, I remember the only reason I asked was because like now I've done a little bit of coding myself, but I remember there was some kind of course I had to take in university. And it was a coding course, and it was something that it was like or it was one of those like bird courses that you just had to take.
yeah,
Remember it was asking about code, and I was like, I have no clue how to code. I don't know anything of what
yeah,
I'm looking at. All right, I threw it all in, and it gave, a code. So I guess it just depends on how, sophisticated and how into the development process that you get is really what dictates how difficult and how I want to say almost how
Yeah.
intricate some of these bots can be.
Well, it comes like a simple one's basically just it does this if you tell it to do that, or just defining what it does in code pretty much is actions and how it would respond.
Fair enough. It's a bunch of if thens and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Fair
pretty much
enough.
if this then that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Where can everybody go to learn about everything that you're doing and maybe read up or learn a little bit more about, what's potentially going to be coming out soon?
Yeah. So on Twitter or X, sorry, we have at 1x Technology and our website's 1x.technology.
Amazing. And then on LinkedIn, if you guys want to follow Jace, where can they do that?
Yeah. I think it is 1x Technology as well on LinkedIn. Yeah.
It's amazing. So we'll be posting a couple of clips from this on LinkedIn, Instagram. We're working on TikTok, but we'll have Facebook as well. So keep an eye out for that. And Jace, this has been awesome. Thank you for walking us through Whale Tank, the AI stuff, and really everything in between. I think that people are going to have their eyes open a bit more to where tech is headed after hearing
Yeah.
this. So
Thank you for having me.
of course, of course. And if you're listening, hit that subscribe button, follow us on Spotify, share this with someone who's into crypto or AI, and you can find more episodes at youtube.com/Yarek. So we'll see you next time. And Jace, thanks again, brother. We'll talk soon.
Thanks. Talk soon.